My headlights caught the silhouette of a man on the porch, arms crossed, watching me with eyes that pierced the storm. Eyes that said he'd been waiting longer than he should. "You're late," he called out, his voice a low rumble over the thunder. But there was no anger in it, just a warmth that wrapped around me like the flannel shirt he wore, and soaked to the bone. "Come on in before you drown out there, Julian." In that moment, as lightning forked the sky and my heart stuttered for reasons I couldn't name, I knew this Airbnb stay in Willow Creek wasn't just a pit stop. It was the storm I'd been running for my whole life. I slammed the car door, my duffel bag slung over one shoulder, and dashed up the creaky steps, water sluicing off me in rivers. Axel, that was his name from the listing, held the screen door open, his frame filling the doorway like he belonged there, rooted in the house's bones. He was taller than I'd pictured from the profile pic, with a jawline shadowed by evening stubble and laugh lines that crinkled when he grinned. "Name's Axel. Welcome to the Hawthorne house. Don't mind the ghosts. They're friendlier than the neighbors." His handshake was firm, calloused from what I guessed was manual labor. Maybe carpentry, given the sawdust scent clinging to him like cologne. I mumbled a thanks, dripping on his welcome mat, and he just chuckled, deep and easy, handing me a towel that smelled faintly of pine soap. "Dry off. I'll brew some coffee. Black, right? Saw you marked it in your booking notes." That small detail hit me like a gut punch. I jotted it down half asleep at 2 a.m., nursing a breakup hangover in my cramped Brooklyn apartment. My ex, Derek, had bailed with a text that read like a corporate memo. "It's not you, it's the timing." Bullshit. It was always the timing or the fear or whatever excuse straight-passing guys like him used when the world got too real. At 28, I'd sworn off Airbnbs in nowhere towns, but Willow Creek was a detour on my drive to clear my head. 3 days to hike the Finger Lakes, pretend I was whole. Now, standing in Axel's foyer with its scuffed hardwood and walls lined in faded sepia photos of stern-faced ancestors, I felt exposed. "You read the notes?" I asked, toweling my hair, trying for casual. "Guilty. Makes hosting easier. Plus, black coffee? Man after my own heart." He winked, turning toward the kitchen, and I followed, the house unfolding like a memory I didn't know I had. The place was a time capsule. Crown molding chipped but proud, a stone fireplace crackling with fresh logs, bookshelves sagging under dog-eared paperbacks. Steinbeck, Kerouac, a worn copy of Giovanni's Room. Axel moved with the grace of someone who'd rebuilt himself piece by piece, pouring 2 mugs from a percolator that gurgled like an old friend. We settled at the scarred oak table, steam rising between us, and he leaned back, sizing me up without judgment. "So, Julian, Brooklyn boy escaping the grind? Or just chasing ghosts?" I laughed, bitter-edged. "Both, probably. Needed air that doesn't taste like exhaust." The rain lashed the windows, turning the world outside to a gray blur, but in here it was safe, too safe. Axel nodded, sipping slow, his green eyes catching the firelight. He was 35, he'd said in the chat, a contractor who'd bought the house 5 years back to flip it but ended up staying. "Roots," he called it, with a shrug that hid stories. We talked for hours that first night, the coffee going cold as I spilled about Derek's ghosting, the suffocating pulse of city life, the ache of loving men who loved their closets more. Axel listened, really listened, his silences heavier than words. Sounds like he was running from himself. "Not you," he said finally, voice soft. "Willow Creek's good for that. Slows you down till you face the mirror." By midnight, the storm had eased to a drizzle, but I didn't want to move. Axel walked me to the guest room upstairs, a cozy nook with a quilt that smelled of lavender and a window overlooking the backyard's wild oaks. "Sleep tight," he said at the door, his hand brushing my arm. "Accidental electric. Breakfast at 7. Pancakes. No notes required." I closed the door, heart pounding, and sank onto the bed, staring at the ceiling's water stains like they held answers. What the hell was this? A host being kind, or something sharper, pulling at the frayed edges of me? Morning broke crisp, the kind of autumn gold that makes upstate New York feel like a painting. I woke to the sizzle of batter and found Axel in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, flipping flapjacks with a flourish. Rise and shine, city slicker. Maple syrup from the farm down the road. Real stuff, not that corn syrup crap. We ate on the back porch, leaves crunching underfoot, the air sharp with wood smoke from a neighbor's chimney. He asked about my hikes, sketched a rough map on a napkin, hidden trails a waterfall locals kept secret. Take the blue path. It'll wreck you in the best way. His enthusiasm was infectious, boyish under the rugged exterior, and I caught myself staring at the way his throat bobbed when he laughed. That day, I wandered the woods as directed, boots sinking in mud, lungs burning with clean air. But my mind looped back to him. The easy cadence of his voice, the flicker of something unspoken when our eyes met. By afternoon, I was back, mud-caked and exhilarated, and Axel was in the garage, sanding a cherrywood nightstand, sawdust dancing in sunbeams. "How'd it treat you?" he asked, wiping sweat from his brow. I rambled about the falls, the roar like a heartbeat, and he set down the sandpaper, grabbing his keys. "Show me. Can't let a guest have all the fun." We drove his beat-up Ford truck to the trailhead, gravel crunching under tires, country radio humming low, Springsteen crooning about highways and broken dreams. The hike was steeper than I'd let on, but Axel matched my pace, pointing out deer tracks, a hawk wheeling overhead. At the overlook, mist rising from the cascade, we sat on a fallen log, shoulders brushing. "This is why I stayed," he said, voice hushed. "Brooklyn's got its pull, but out here, you hear yourself think." I turned, our knees touching, and the air thickened. "What are you thinking about, Axel?" His gaze dropped to my mouth, then away. "Things I shouldn't. Not with a guest who's got places to be." But I didn't. Not yet. That night, we cooked together. Chili from his grandma's recipe, simmering on the stove while we cracked beers and swapped stories. He told me about growing up in Willow Creek, the son of a mill worker and a schoolteacher, football star turned outcast when whispers started about who he watched in the locker room. "Small town, big secrets," he said, stirring the pot, his back to me. "Dad never knew. Mom did toward the end. Forgave me before the cancer took her." The vulnerability cracked something in me. I stepped closer, hand on his shoulder. "Sounds lonely." He turned, eyes stormy. "Was, till now." Our first kiss happened there, in the steam of the kitchen, tentative and tasting of beer and spice. His hands framed my face, calluses rough against my skin, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the press of his lips, the sigh he let out like surrender. We pulled back, foreheads touching, breaths mingling. "Julian," he murmured, "this is dangerous." I laughed, shaky. "I'm all in for danger." We didn't push further, not that night. Just sat on the couch after dinner, his arm around me, watching an old Hitchcock flick on his ancient TV, the black and white shadows dancing like our unspoken fears. The days blurred into a rhythm that felt stolen. Mornings, coffee and quiet talks on the porch, Axel's foot hooked around my ankle under the table. Afternoons, hikes or lazy drives through orchards heavy with apples, his hand finding mine on the gearshift. Evenings, fireside confessions, his fingers tracing patterns on my palm as he spoke of dreams deferred. A life in the city he'd chased once, only to bolt back when his ex, a high school flame, outed him to the whole town in a drunken rage. Lost the job, the friends, but gained this place. I shared my own scars. The conservative parents in Ohio who'd prayed away my phase. The parade of hookups that left me hollow. With Axel, it wasn't hollow. It was real, raw, a tether in the chaos. By day 3, the pull was magnetic. We made love. Not frantic, but slow, in the guest room with rain pattering the roof again. His body solid and sure over mine, whispers of my name like prayers. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he held me close, heartbeats syncing with mine. "Stay," he said into my hair. "Just a little longer." I wanted to. God, I did. But Brooklyn loomed, my freelance graphic design gigs stacking up, the life I'd built brick by fragile brick. That's when the cracks showed. On day 4, I found the letter in the desk drawer while hunting for a charger. Yellowed envelope, postmarked Chicago, addressed to Axel in looping script. My dearest Axel, if you're reading this, I couldn't make the words come alive. But I need you. The baby's due in spring. Come home. We can fix this. Love, Sarah. My stomach dropped. Sarah? A baby? I shoved it back, heart hammering, but the seed was planted. That night, over takeout pizza, I probed gently. Ever think about leaving Willow Creek for good? He paused, pizza slice halfway to his mouth. Sometimes. Had a girl once, back in college. Thought that's what you do, settle down, play straight. She was kind, but it was all wrong. Broke her heart when I came out. Relief flooded me, but the letter's ghost lingered. Who was Sarah? The betrayal brewed slow, like a storm front rolling in from the lake. Day 5, Axel took me to the annual harvest fair in town. Booths strung with lights, hayrides rumbling past, the air thick with fried dough and cider. He won me a stuffed bear at the ring toss, his competitive grin boyish, and we shared funnel cake under the Ferris wheel. Grease on our fingers, laughter easy. But eyes followed us. Whispers from clusters of locals. A pointed stare from the cotton candy vendor. Axel's got company, one muttered, loud enough to carry. Axel's jaw tightened, but he squeezed my hand. Ignoring. Small minds, big mouths. Later, on the hayride, alone in the shadows of the wagon, he kissed me fierce, like claiming territory. You're worth every side eye, he growled against my neck. But as the night wore on, doubt gnawed. Who was I here? A weekend fling, or more? Back at the house, buzzed on spiked cider, I confronted the drawer. The letter was gone. Tucked away, maybe burned. I didn't ask. Instead, we fell into bed, urgency masking the unease, his touches desperate, like he sensed the fracture. Day 6 dawned brittle. Axel was distant at breakfast, scrolling his phone with a frown. Everything okay? I asked, pouring coffee. He nodded too quick. Just work stuff. Client in Syracuse bailing. But his eyes dodged mine, and when he left for a quick errand, I snooped, guilt twisting my gut, but curiosity sharper. In his nightstand, a sonogram photo, grainy black and white, dated 3 months back. Baby's first peek, scribbled on the back in that same looping hand. Sarah. Not an ex, a current tie, a life he'd hidden. Rage boiled, hot and immediate. I paced the kitchen, fists clenched, the house's warmth turning claustrophobic. Hours ticked by. He returned at dusk, whistling, arms full of groceries like nothing simmered. Miss me? He teased, setting down bags. I held up the photo, trembling. Who the hell is she, Axel? And this? His face drained of color, whistling, dying mid-note. Julian. It's not. Not what? Not a baby on the way. Not a woman waiting for you to fix this. The words lashed out, venom I didn't know I had. He sank into a chair, head in hands. Sarah's my sister-in-law. My brother died last year, overdose. She was pregnant when it happened. Moved in with me for a bit, but complications. She's back in Chicago now with her folks. The baby's his, our family's last piece. Lies? Truth? His voice cracked, eyes pleading. I didn't tell you because it was too much, too soon. And you're the first good thing in years. I wanted to believe him, to bridge the gap with a touch, but betrayal's poison spread. You let me think we had something real. While hiding this, he stood, reaching, but I backed away. It is real, Julian. Please. The argument escalated, voices rising over the sizzle of forgotten stew on the stove. Accusations flew. My paranoia from Derek's ghosts, his fear of scaring me off. I'm not him, I shouted. But you're hiding, just like every damn one. Thunder rumbled outside, mirroring the storm in my chest. He grabbed my arm, not hard, but desperate. Stay. Let me prove it. I wrenched free, storming to the door, rain sheeting down again. I can't. Not like this. I drove into the night, wipers slashing futilely, Willow Creek's lights fading in the rearview. Miles blurred, tears mixing with rain on my cheeks, Axel's face. Broken, reaching, burned behind my eyes. Betrayal wasn't just the secret. It was the fragility of trust. How one hidden truth could shatter the illusion of safe harbors. The highway stretched black and endless under sodium lamps, taillights of semis winking like distant accusations as I pushed the rental car toward Syracuse. Then the turnpike south. My phone buzzed on the passenger seat. Axel's name flashing. A voicemail pleading, "Julian, wait, come back. We can talk." I deleted it, jaw set, but the ache clawed deeper with every mile. Willow Creek had hooked me, not just with its oaks and falls, but with him. The man who'd made me feel seen, not as a phase or a risk, but as home. And I'd run, like always, when the shadows lengthened. By dawn, I was holed up in a chain motel off I-81, the room smelling of stale smoke and regret. Coffee from a machine that spat brown sludge did nothing for the hollow in my gut. I scrolled listings back in Brooklyn, sublets, gigs, but my thumb hovered over a blank sketchpad app, cursor blinking like a dare. Design had always been my escape. Lines and colors to contain the chaos. But now, every stroke evoked Axel's hands, rough and sure, shaping wood into something lasting. "Idiot," I muttered, slamming the laptop shut. The sonogram wasn't a lie. Not the way he'd spun it, but the omission? That was the knife. How many half-truths had Derek fed me before ghosting? How many times had I excused the hiding, only to wake up alone? The road called again by noon. I couldn't face the city yet. Detour to the Finger Lakes proper, I told myself, hike off the hurt. But as I wound through vineyards gold with fall, my GPS glitched, rerouting me past a sign for Willow Creek Scenic Overlook. Heart stuttering, I pulled off anyway, gravel crunching like bones under tires. From the bluff, the town sprawled below. Church steeples piercing the mist, the Victorian's roof a dark smudge amid the trees. Axel's house. Our house for those stolen days. A hawk circled lazy overhead, and I gripped the wheel, torn between gas and gravel. Back on the interstate, my phone rang, unknown number. I answered on impulse. "Julian? Sarah. Axel gave me your info. Said you might pick up." Her voice was soft, Midwestern warm, laced with fatigue. "He didn't lie. The baby's mine. My husband's last gift. Axel's been a rock, but he's drowning in it. Lost his brother, then almost me when things went south with the pregnancy. He didn't tell you because he's scared of losing more." I swallowed hard, throat tight. "He should have trusted me." She sighed. "Maybe, but trust's a two-way street, hon. He's driving to you now. Said he'd wait at the rest stop in Cortland if you give him a shot." I hung up, pulse thundering, and floored it north. Cortland's lights glowed like a beacon as dusk fell, the rest area a fluorescent island amid cornfields. There he was, leaning against his truck, steam rising from a thermos, face etched with the kind of weariness that ages a man overnight. He straightened when he saw me, hands shoved in pockets, no words at first. Just that look, raw and reaching. I parked crooked, killed the engine, and stepped out into the chill, arms crossed like armor. "Sarah called." He nodded, slow. Figured she would. Pushy when it comes to family. A ghost of a smile, then gone.
"I'm sorry, Julian."
"For the silence. For letting you think." He trailed off, rubbing his neck. "Sarah's family now. But you're the part one wanna keep." Rain started again, light at first, then steady, soaking us where we stood. I stepped closer, anger fraying at the edges. Why hide it? We were building something. His eyes met mine, glistening, not just rain. Because every time I let someone in, it breaks. Brothers gone, folks scattered. Thought if I kept the hard parts locked, the good could stay. Thunder grumbled distant, and I closed the gap, hands fisting his shirt. "I'm not glass, Axel, and neither are you." We kissed then, not soft like before, but fierce. Rain slick and urgent. His arms crushing me close, my fingers tangling in his wet hair. It was apology and anchor, the storm raging around us as we poured out the unspoken. Fears, fractures, the fragile hope of us. Come back, he whispered against my lips. Or let me come to you. Brooklyn, Willow, doesn't matter. Just us. I pulled back, searching his face, the lines of a life hard one. No more secrets. None, he vowed, thumb brushing my cheek. We drove back together, his truck tailing my car through the downpour, wipers sinking like heartbeats. The house welcomed us with its creak and glow, fire relit in the hearth. That night we talked till dawn. Not just words, but truths laid bare. Axel showed me the nursery upstairs, half-finished crib in the corner, toys his brother had carved. For visits, he said. Sarah's got her people, but this is home base. I shared my own ghosts. The coming-out call to mom that ended in silence, the freelance hustle masking panic attacks. Vulnerability wove us tighter, not as lovers in a bubble, but men choosing the mess. Morning brought clarity, sharp as the frost rhyming the windows. Over pancakes. Burnt this time, but we laughed. I broached the future. I'm not quitting Brooklyn. Not yet. But weekends? We make it work. He grinned. Syrup sticky. Deal. I'll even learn the subway. We hiked that day, the blue trail to the falls, hands linked openly now, the roar drowning doubts. Locals nodded wary hellos. Axel didn't flinch. Let 'em talk, he murmured. We've got our story. But Willow Creek's undercurrent simmered. Day 8. A package arrived, Sarah's, with baby booties and a note. Thanks for being his anchor. Visit soon. Joy flickered, but so did the town's shadow. At the diner for lunch, Old Man Hargrove cornered us by the counter, beer breath hot. Axel, that your friend from the city? Town's got standards, boy. Axel's grip tightened on his fork. Standards like your third DUI, Hank? I tensed, but he squeezed my knee under the table, steady. We left with heads high, but the sting lingered. That evening, conflict crested. A call from my agent. Big gig in LA, 2 weeks. Perfect timing. I joked to Axel, but his face fell. 2 weeks? Now? Insecurity flared, mine his tangled. It's work, not running. He paced the kitchen, shadows long. Feels like it, like Derek's ghost pulling you back. The name slipped out, a barb from my confessions, and I fired back. Or your brothers, keeping you chained here. Silence crashed, heavier than thunder. He stopped, voice breaking. Maybe, but losing you? That's the real chain. We slept apart that night, guest room cold, my mind a whirlwind. Betrayal revisited. Not his secret now, but our fears betraying us, eroding the foundation we'd laid. Dawn found me on the porch, coffee steaming. When he joined me, eyes red-rimmed. I overreacted. Go to LA. Nail it. I'll be here, sanding tables and missing you stupid. No, I thought, not like this. What if we build something bigger? You come with scout contracts in California. Test the waters. His laugh was watery. Me? In Hollywood? I'd stick out like a sore thumb. Good. We shake things up together. The climax hit that unexpected night. As leaves whipped in a gale, power flickering. We'd planned a quiet dinner, candles against the dark. When the knock came, insistent, furious. Axel opened the door to Hargrove and 2 buddies. Rain lashed and slurring, faces twisted. Get your deviants out of our town, Hawthorne. Folks are talking. Decent ones, anyway. My blood iced. Axel's frame blocked the threshold. On my property, Hank? Trespassing's a charge. But they pushed, one shoving Axel back, the other lunging for me. Chaos erupted, fists flying, a chair splintering, my pulse roaring as I swung a lamp, connecting with a thud. Axel fought like a cornered wolf, protecting me with a ferocity that stole my breath. But numbers won. A boot caught his ribs. He grunted, doubling. Rage ignited. I tackled the nearest, screaming profanities that echoed the storm. Sirens wailed distant, neighbors' lights blinking on, and the drunks scattered like roaches when blue and reds flooded the yard. Paramedics swarmed. Axel's lips split, bruises blooming, but his hand found mine amid the stretcher. You okay? he rasped, green eyes fierce.
Yeah, I lied, trembling.
You. The R was a blur of fluorescent hell. Stitches for him, ice for my knuckles, statements to a deputy who looked too much like the attackers. Hate crime, he muttered, apologetic. We'll handle it. Dawn crept gray as they released us, Axel limping, me steering him home. In the truck, silence stretched, then shattered. This is what I hid from you, he said, voice raw. Not just Sarah, the ugliness here. Thought I could shield you. I pulled over, rain drumming the roof. Shield? You think I need that? We're in this, Axel. The ugly, the beautiful, all of it. Back at the house, bandaged and broken, we collapsed on the couch, his head on my chest. Love you, he whispered, first time spoken. Tears pricked my eyes. Love you too, but we can't stay fractured. That night, under quilts patched with our stories, we planned. Not escape, but evolution. I take the LA gig. He joined for the last week, scouting builds. Then a compromise. Split time, Willow for roots, Brooklyn for wings. Humanistic, messy, real. Months folded like accordions after that night, each crease marking growth or grind. LA was sun-bleached glamour and grind. Storyboards for a queer indie flick. My designs splashed across sets that hummed with possibility. Axel flew in late, tan from a job site in Syracuse, and we navigated the sprawl in his rental Jeep, his hand on my thigh as we cruised Mulholland at sunset. Bigger than I pictured, he admitted. LA's lights sprawling like a lover's promise. We crashed in my sublet, bodies familiar now, touches laced with the shorthand of survivors. No more veils. We mapped each other's scars, his fading bruises, my calloused heart. But distance tested us, a slow betrayal of miles and missed calls. Back in Willow Creek, Axel dove into renovations, turning the Victorian's attic into a studio for me, easel, drafting table, walls primed white. Photos arrived weekly, progress shots, captioned your throne awaits. I'd reply with sketches of him, strong lines, soft eyes, mailed like love letters. Yet doubt whispered, was this sustainable? My parents' holiday card arrived and signed, a pointed blank where my name should have been. Phasing out, it felt like. Axel's updates grew sparse. Sarah's baby, little Ethan, thriving, but town tensions simmering post-incident. Hargrove faced charges, but glares lingered at the market. Spring thawed the Finger Lakes, and I drove north for Easter, the truck loaded with California citrus and a ring. Not proposal, just promise. A hammered silver band I designed myself. The house bloomed. Tulips Axel's mom had planted decades back. The nursery now a guest room with Ethan's crib for visits. He met me at the door, flour dusted from bread baking, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of yeast and yearning. Missed this, he murmured, hands roaming. We made dinner, lamb from the farm co-op, wine from local vines, talking over candlelight about futures. A joint bid on city contracts, my graphic firm branching rural. Ethan's first visit came in May, Sarah driving down with the bundle, her smile tired but genuine. Aunt Julian? She teased, handing him over. He was a warm weight, gummy grin melting me, Axel's eyes misty as he cooed. Uncle Ax. I whispered, and he laughed, throat tight. That night, after they left, we lay in the yard under stars, fireflies winking. Family, he said, tracing my band. Ours. But the idol cracked midsummer. A call from my agent. Relocation offer to LA full-time, double pay. Think it over, she urged. I did, pacing Brooklyn's fire escape. Phone clutched. Axel deserved roots. I craved sky. The confrontation brewed over a weekend in July, heat wave turning Willow sticky. I arrived wired, proposal ring heavy in my pocket. We hiked the blue trail, sweat slick, the falls a distant roar. At the overlook, I broached it.
La Wame permanent.
His step faltered. And, it's big, but, us. He stopped, face shadowed by brim of his cap. What about us? You choose city lights over this. Hurt laced his words, old fears rising. Not choosing, expanding. Come with, build there. He turned away, fists clenched. I've tried cities. They chew you up, spit out the pieces. Here, I matter. The argument ignited, words like dry tinder. You matter to me anywhere, I shouted, voice echoing off rocks. But you're scared, hiding behind the house, the town that hates us. He whirled, eyes flashing. And you're running, chasing validation in spotlights, leaving the real behind. Betrayal stung anew. His stagnation mirroring my flight, our love the casualty. I stormed down the trail, branches whipping, tears hot. At the truck, engine rumbling, he caught up, breathless. Don't, please. I revved, but his hand on the door stayed me. I love you too much to lose you like this. We drove in silence, the cab thick with unspoken. Back home, storm clouds gathered, mirroring the one inside. Dinner was tense, silent forks scraping plates, until thunder cracked, power dying. Candles flickered as rain lashed, and in the dim he broke. You're right.
I'm scared.
Brother's death. It anchored me here. Like if I leave, it's all gone. I reached across the table, flame dancing in his eyes. It's not gone. It's us, portable, stubborn. He nodded, slow, then pulled me close, kissed salt with tears. Okay, we try LA. Together. But climax wasn't tidy. August brought the fire, literal, a blaze jumping from Hargrove's barn. Embers carried on wind to the Victorian's edge. Sirens wailed as we evacuated. Axel's arm around me, duffel stuffed hasty. Flames licked the oaks, heat searing. The house a silhouette against inferno. We watched from the fairgrounds, trucks hosing futile, my heart in ashes. Everything, he choked, gripping my hand. Not everything, I said, ring glinting in firelight. Us. Dawn revealed the ruin. Roof caved, walls charred, but bones standing, like us. Insurance crawled, but community surprised. Neighbors with casseroles, even wary ones, murmuring apologies. Sarah sent funds. My LA contacts wired aid. We camped in the yard, tent under stars, rebuilding plans sketched on napkins. Axel sold the lot to a preservation trust, ironic mercy, and we packed for California, Willow a chapter, not end. Betrayal's echoes faded. His secrets aired, my fears faced. The town? Some thawed, others froze. Humanistic truth. Not all heal, but grace blooms where you plant it. By fall, we settled in Echo Park, a bungalow with lemon trees, Axel's carpentry sign swinging. Hawthorne builds, honest hands. I freelanced remote, designs infused with upstate grit. Ethan visited, toddling chaos. Parents? A tentative email from mom. Heard you're happy. That's enough. We married quiet, on a bluff overlooking the Pacific. Vows exchanged with ocean roar. Bands exchanged like lifelines. No perfection, just persistence. Arguments over takeout, hikes in canyons echoing our trails. Love deepened by fires weathered. Looking back, that Airbnb porch in the rain was fate's hook. Not the storm, but the man who opened the door. Axel taught me home isn't a place. It's the choice to stay, scars and all. In the end, we didn't change the world, just each other. And in America's vast, fractured heart, that's revolution enough.